This is the key to getting better at hearing God's voice. First, I want to preface this by saying if you want to get good at hearing God's voice, then you need to be a student of the Word. The Word of God is the most important factor to being able to discern God's voice well. But in this video, that is not the key I'm talking about. Because there are many people who are students of the Word, consume the Word constantly and know their Bible back and forth, yet they still have a hard time hearing God's voice. And the reason for why this is the case is because you have a lack of practice. Hearing God's voice is a skill that can be and must be honed. The only way to hone this skill is through practice. The more that you practice hearing God's voice, the easier it will be to discern Him at later times in your life. Now you might be wondering, how can a person practice hearing God's voice as you cannot force God to speak? Which is true. However, God desires for you to hear and know His voice. So if you ask Him through prayer to help you to get better at hearing His voice, He'll provide you many opportunities to practice. And this practice is important because it really helps you to learn through experience what God sounds like and how He speaks to you personally. In this practice as well, you'll also receive a track record that you can use to help you discern God's voice in other situations. And through practice and experience, you can begin to figure out the fine differences and nuances between what God is saying versus you speaking to yourself or what you think God could be saying. Realistically, sometimes you may hear something that doesn't contradict the scriptures, it makes sense, and it could be something that God may say to you, but even still, God wasn't speaking in that moment. Practicing hearing God's voice makes discerning God in those types of situations much easier to do. And with the combination of the scriptures and experience, you'll be able to discern God's voice in a much more consistent and deeper level. So if you want to get better at hearing God's voice, be a student of the Word, but also you need to practice. So I hope this helped and that the Spirit of God speaks to those who He needs to speak to. If you want more content like this, go and drop a sub or a follow. And if you want to hear more teachings from me that are outside of short form content, I would recommend showing my Bible classes every single Thursday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern on Google Meets.